Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Howson. This is Tactical Preview, Manchester United against Manchester City, the Manchester Derby, the biggest game in City's calendar. Oh, remember when we used to be on top in these? Used to be quality, didn't it? Right, we are brought to you in partnership with the Betfair Exchange, and I'll be giving you my bets a little bit later on, so stay tuned for those, and there will be some info about those in the description, so make sure to check that out. Before we get going into this, there's a few quotes from Ollie that we need to address straight off the bat, because as I was picking this, I was hoping that we would have Paul Pogba available, and we don't have Paul Pogba available. So here's what Ollie had to say. He says he's missing. If everyone's thinking, shit, spoiler alert, he's missing, he's not going to play. He says, Pogba back as soon as possible. He's out on the grass training. I said in 2019, so hopefully it will be before the new year. I mean, he did think he was going to have him for Wednesday. He did think he was going to have him for today. He keeps getting pushed back. I don't know where I stand on this one. I really don't. On recovery, he says, energy-wise, should be fine. 24 hours less recovery time shouldn't matter. They'll go on adrenaline. Yesterday was a recovery day. They were tired. Today's another preparation day, and we still haven't had that session. Obviously, this was early this morning. I expect them to have a good night's sleep. Talking about Tony Marshall, he says, hopefully we'll have Anthony definitely for part of the game. Not sure if he's able to start. So going off that, I left him out of my 11 and went with a totally different 11. But I'll give you that a little bit later on. So United's form going into this, we are back in the top 6. Bosh! Level with Crystal Palace. Not Bosh. We are 8 points behind Chelsea, who are in 4th. I personally think that we probably should have 2 more points at the very least than what we've got at the moment. I think that would have been fair for our performance so far this season. And I think if we'd have had that, that would leave us in 5th. And I think that's a probably fair reflection of where we are in terms of a squad and everything else this season. We've only won 1 away game this season, and that was Norwich, and they're not very good. We've scored 1 more goal. We've scored more than 1 goal in each of our last 4 league games, which is nice to see that we've actually started doing that. And only managed this in the league once before that, which was Chelsea 4-0, for anyone that doesn't remember. Opposition then, Manchester City, they're currently 3rd in the league. They have won 4 out of their last 5, but they've been anything but convincing doing so. They seem to be completely vulnerable at the back and are only managing to tweak out wins on the sheer firepower that they have up front. The only defeat in that 5, it was coming to Liverpool. They average a 62% possession in each game this season. They're scoring 2.9 goals per game. Kevin De Bruyne, obviously, probably the most important players and one of the best players in the league. 4 goals and 9 assists so far for him this season. 3.9 key passes per game. 93% pass accuracy inside his own half, and he's getting 2.1 shots off as well. For United, the player I think that is going to make the difference for us is Harry Maguire. 86% passing accuracy, 4 clearances per game, dribbled past 0.2 times per game. So once every 5 games he gets dribbled past, and he wins 4 aerial duels per game. Against Manchester City, you're not going to see the sort of performance that he put in against Tottenham, which I think was a very good performance. He defended very well in his channel. He defended the line very well, and he defended the aerial threat. I think there was something like 23 crosses slung in from Tottenham. Harry Maguire got on the end of a load of those. That's not going to be the threat that you have to deal with. The threat that we're going to have to deal with, unfortunately, is pretty much how Tottenham scored against us in the week, which is going to be coming into the box, numbers in and around the box, and United do struggle against teams that sort of crowd our box. If you look at the goal at Sheffield United and numerous other times this season, even to a certain extent, even though it was outside the box, the way Grealish scored for Aston Villa was symptomatic of this thing again, that we panic in and around the box. I don't know if it's VAR playing on our mind and we don't want to commit a foul, but we stand off and no one puts in any sort of challenge. I'm not saying Muller the guy, although when you get to my 11, you'll be going, you are saying Muller the guy, aren't you, Steve? I'll show you in a minute when you see my 11. Maybe I am saying a little bit of that, but not in the box though. Come, stay on your feet in the box, but let's actually put in a challenge for once rather than just having it dance around. Let's have a look at my starting 11 then. So this is the team that I've gone for. There might be some hot sauce in it. What of it? Big Dave in net, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Harry Maguire and Rojo, centre-half. Do you know what? Lindelof's good in these games. Actually, Lindelof defends the channel very well. But I'm just feeling somebody hit somebody. That's what I'm feeling. Someone absolutely lay somebody out. And I think Rojo's been good this season. And I'd go with him and Brandon Williams, which I know is a red card waiting to happen, but it's a derby. And I think you get a little bit of leeway in derby games. McTominay and Fred in central midfield. I would have gone with a midfield three, including Pogba and these two, if it was an option available to us. And I was going to suggest Jesse Lingard as a false 9. But with Pogba being out, the team pretty much, and Martial being out, the team pretty much picks itself. I thought Mason Greenwood did all right against Tottenham without really lining up. And I think this game probably suits him a little bit better than that Tottenham game does, because the City defence will not be anywhere near as physical. And if he can get the pressing side into him, because much like Martial, it's not really in his nature, then we could force some errors. What I want from that three behind him, James, Rashford, Jesse Lingard, is do not let that City defence have a second touch. If you give this City defence no time on the ball, no time to take a touch, and you absolutely get in their faces, they will turn the ball over for you in critical areas. Then it's time to capitalise, then it's time to punish them. United cannot hold on to a lead. United cannot sit and park the bus with this team. United have to attack, and you have to attack the other team by pressing them and causing them trouble. Liverpool are the team that causes this City team the most problems, uniquely, and a lot of the reason for that is the way they press with the forward three. Let's replicate that, and let's try and get something away from it. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us to get the victory, but I do think it's doable for us. Let's have a look at my bets then. As I mentioned, in partnership with the Betfair Exchange, my first bet of the day, considering the good form that the guy is in, is Rashford to score first and continue his amazing run against the top teams in the league. Almost against Spurs, I thought he really took it up a level. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Real air of expectancy anytime he got the ball, and pretty unlucky not to get a hat-trick. The Exchange currently has him at a 10.5 to be the first goal scorer, and a tenner on that is going to return £105. I think that's an awesome bet to stick on, the form that the guy's in, and the way United start, especially in the first half of games at the moment. Another bet for tomorrow then I'm going to be going for is United to win 3-2. And I'm certain there's going to be goals in this. And I'm certain that there's going to be both teams scoring. And I think that if United, if we approach this correctly, can actually go and shock a lot of the league. Now, the Betfair Exchange have got this result priced at 70, which means £10 on this returns £700. And as a comparison, on the sportsbook side of Betfair, and likely with every other bookie out there, you're looking at around about odds of 55 to 1. That's the odds at the time of filming. They obviously do change. But you're looking at around about 55 to 1 for this elsewhere. And on the sportsbook side of Betfair, you do get much better odds on the exchange. And frequently you will get far better odds because they can be set by punters like yourself on the exchange. So check those out. Another feature that makes the betting exchange, the Betfair Exchange, unique is the ability to lay a bet. And that's to assume the side of the bookies and say, look, this isn't going to happen whatsoever. So here's what I'm saying isn't going to happen. And I hope I'm not setting myself up to get clipped up here. City won't win this 2-0. That's my feeling. The feeling behind that is, look, they're leaking at the back. If they beat us, I don't think it'll be as close as that. So if I want to win £2, my liability is 16. If it loses, that's what I will have to pay out. So that's what I'm going to be going for. But I think if United lose, there's no way we're not scoring. And I think it'll be a lot tighter than 2-0. So that's what I'm going for, and that's what I'm going to lay. And maybe we can have a look at other ways to use the exchange in the future. If you fancy any of that, there's a link in the description to sign up. Make sure you're 18 plus, and please gamble responsibly. Right, let's have a look at some of the questions from the Massive on Patreon, and any of you guys in the comments watching as well. James says Lingard is awful. What great analysis that was, mate. Well, okay, Lingard. Don't think he creates a lot of chances. Cool. Well, against Sheffield United, he came on and in half the game created 4 chances, which was more than the rest of the team. And also at the weekend, in the week against Spurs. Why do I keep thinking it was weekend? He created 4 chances, more than any player on the pitch. Know what I'm saying? I see what the Patreon group are saying. Do I think Ollie will go 3-5-2 with Lingard in midfield and a false 9? How do you have a false 9 and a 3-5-2? 2 false 9s. How do we stop ourselves being overrun in midfield with much less possession? You're not going to stop being overrun in midfield. You're just going to have to accept that you need to spring forward as soon as you win possession and put it into the channels for the likes of James and Marcus to run onto. Klaus says, with Axel back fully fit, dude, I think he'll play the game, or would I keep Lindelof because he had a decent game last time? Well, you've just seen what I'm going for. And I'm bringing in Rojo for a little bit of an extra bite because I thought we was a little bit hesitant defensively, and I want to change that. Most important player in each expected 11. I think Harry Maguire's got a really big game for United this week. That's why he was my key player. City's going to be De Bruyne because he is their best player. And he can be the one that absolutely rinses our defence with one pass. Ali, how highly do I rate our chances to get at least a result? Also, hope you had a nice birthday. I was working, and so it wasn't that good a day. How highly do I rate our chances? I think we can get something, but it's going to be very difficult. I definitely think we can get something, and I'll always go into a game hopeful. Whether or not, I bet loads on the the 2009 Champions League final, and I did it again 2 years later, thinking that we was going to get something out of probably the greatest football team the world's ever seen in Barcelona, because that's just what you do as a fan, isn't it? It's a fan's prerogative to just be completely deluded into thinking that no matter the game, you can turn someone over. Who plays left back tomorrow? Come on, Ross. Who actually plays, or who do I want to play? I think it'll probably be Young. But for me, it has to be Brandon. Is this the type of game Lindelof thrives in? Says Blake. Yeah, and do you know what? I and ahed about playing Lindelof, but I think he's good against this sort of team. I just wanted to see something totally different, and that's why I went with what I went with by bringing in Rojo in. Matt, do I think we'll ever see Wan-Bissaka shifted to centre-back? Would be interesting to see how he gets on there. Also would allow Laird to get an opportunity at right-back. Yeah, I think probably the Colchester game coming up might be the opportunity to experiment with that sort of stuff. I think it depends how all the other results around that are going for Ollie. Can he afford to do something a bit experimental, or does he have to just play his strongest team because the Ollie Out Brigade are all over him? And does victory keep Poch and other pretenders away from Ollie's throne? Well, Ant, with a very cutely timed comment there. As you guys know in the Patreon group, and as you guys who aren't in the Patreon group don't know, one of the things that you get for being in my Patreon group and supporting this channel is inside information. You lot should check your communicados from this morning, because there was some Pochettino info and one of our players' info dropped in there. Nothing on transfers just yet. As soon as I get the transfer info, that'll be going in there. But there was a bit of a communicado dropped in this morning. So if anyone wants to go check that out, that's one of the perks of being in the Patreon group. Another perk of the Patreon group is that you get to come play five-a-side against me and all the widgets in the studio in about 2.5 hours. So if you fancy, I'm in Manchester tonight, I'm not doing anything. Come and join the Patreon group and come and find out where you can come and play us and at what time. I just told you the time, didn't I? How much money should I put on another Rashford brace? Oh, I wouldn't mind that, wouldn't you? Rashford's a good pair of odds to score, so have a look at it. A lot of people will have their eyes on Ole, but if City loses this game, how will things be looking for Pep? Well, as per the title, can Solskjaer break Guardiola? I don't think Guardiola's the man that you want in the trenches. I think he wigs out a little bit, and I think he's quite poor under pressure. Evidenced by the fact that he walked out on his boyhood club. Can you ever imagine Ryan Giggs coming through at Manchester United, winning everything as a player, becoming the manager, winning a treble, having Lionel Messi, and then walking away from that? Not the man I want. Lewis, do you think we can see someone like Fred doing a job on De Bruyne, kind of like Herrera did that one time? I think that's Scott McDominator's that role in this particular fixture. Is it the game we see Williams get sent off? As long as we don't lose, hero status would be confirmed for Williams, I think, if he did. Did you know that Juan Mata has more United red cards than Rojo? What? Is that legit? Wow. Lewis, that's quality. Inferno, is this the game we see Ole expose Pep for the ball fraud that he is? I'll save my comments until hopefully I can do it after the game. Do you think this game will be reminiscent of Spurs away when we won 1-0? Fingers crossed De Gea has one of those De Gea performances. Yes, Lewis. That is what I am sort of hoping happens in this one as well. And Gibran in the comments says, if I sign up for Patreon now, you get access to everything. and it's £4 a month, $5, £4 a month. And we was having a discussion today. There might be something that we're going to be doing with. We're planning all sorts of stuff for the meetups that we do, and we may or may not have been having a discussion with someone today which involves bringing bands. We might be doing gigs for you lot, so check that out. We might be doing full, proper events, which are just pure Patreon only. So some updates on that in the Patreon group as and when I get that stuff signed off. It's not signed off just yet, but we had a really interesting conversation with someone today about supplying a lot of bands for us. So that sounds like a good one, doesn't it? We'll be bringing a legend, hopefully, to all the different cities. Manchester and Dublin are the ones that we're looking at first. Bring a legend down, do a live podcast, bring a band on, have an absolutely fucking banging night out. Who won the boot giveaway? I still can't get on my Instagram to tell you. But definitely go and follow me on Instagram and I'll check it out. Righty then. Adam in the comments says Arctic Monkeys. Probably not. Probably not quite Arctic Monkeys, but some absolutely banging stuff. Righty. Make sure to check out the link in the description and sign up for Betfair if you fancy any of those, if you're over 18, and make sure you are being gambler aware and only bet what you can afford to lose. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know in the comments where you're watching the derby tomorrow. I'll be doing a watch along under the Stretford Paddock banner, but on this channel, if you would like to tune in with us, we'll have a cracking little do there. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.